Okay, here we go. 6.4, we're almost done. I know we're all very excited for that. So this activity, we're talking about linear models and the association that they have. So the first thing that you're going to do, you're going to look at each of these individual scatter plots and you're going to determine if a linear model makes sense. Let's remind ourselves that a linear model is when we decide that a line makes sense and fits the data that's presented in the scatter plot. Some of these might not have any correlation, so a linear model doesn't make sense, and that's okay. So the first thing you're going to do is write yes next to the graph if you think that a linear model makes sense, or no if you think that a linear model does not make sense. Once you've done that, for all of the graphs that you believe have or would make sense with a linear model, you're going to write down if you think the slope of your linear model would be positive, negative, or have a slope of 0. So let's remind ourselves that a positive slope, the line is increasing. Negative slope, the line is decreasing. Slope of 0, who remembers? Perfectly flat horizontal line, okay? Let me point out here that for letter C, this dark line right here is not the answer. This does not mean that a slope of 0 makes sense. The only reason this line is darker than all the others is because it's your 0 line. So it's like your origin, okay? So don't think they gave you an answer. The answer of slope of 0 is not true for this one, so don't choose that, all right? Once you've done that for all 5 graphs, then you're going to come down here and say which of these scatter plots show evidence of a positive association, a negative association, and which do not appear to show an association at all. Okay? So let's take 5 minutes. Once the 5 minutes are up, you can unpause the video and we'll go over the answers together. All right? So A, a linear model would fit and it has a negative slope. So I could draw a line like this. It goes through the data points. It makes sense. B, a linear model would fit and it has a positive slope. So a line like this, positive slope, makes sense. C, a linear model is going to fit, and contrary to what we thought about this little answer they gave us, which wasn't really an answer, it's a negative slope. That makes the most sense. So we have a negative slope, a positive slope, a negative slope. For letter D, a linear model is not going to fit this data very well. It's very spread out. It's not clustered together in any real direction. So this one, I would say no to a linear model. It just doesn't make sense. And then E, a linear model does fit, and it would have a positive slope. This little point down here, who remembers what we call that? It doesn't really fit with the rest of the data. Hopefully we all yelled out outlier. Good. And then for number 2, the scatter plots that show a positive association include B and E. There are graphs with a positive slope. Negative association would be A and C, are graphs with a negative slope. And then the graph that doesn't have any association would be D, because it can't even fit a linear model. It just does not make sense. Okay? So now we're going to pass out the cool down. I need you to work on the cool down by yourself as always. And when you are finished, you can give it to your substitute teacher. And then I want you to read through the lesson summary together. That's a lie. I want you to read through the lesson summary by yourself. And then homework, practice problems lesson 6, and Khan Academy lesson 6. Okay?